why are sinkholes appearing across Russia? You can turn back now or learn the stuff they don't want you to know. Here are the facts. In July of 2014, a helicopter discovered a gaping crater in Siberia's isolated Yamal Peninsula at about 60 meters across and almost 70 meters deep, with an icy lake at the bottom. The sinkhole stuck out like a livid scar across the barren waste of the tundra. The helicopter pilots had never seen such a thing before. It turns out they weren't alone. As experts converged on the site, reindeer herders discovered other craters, one in Yamal and one in the Taimyr Peninsula. So what are they exactly, and could more be on the way? Here's where it gets crazy. As of July 2014, experts still weren't sure what had caused these bizarre formations. Speculation ran wild, with several competing theories. The first, that this was a meteorite, has been largely dismissed. The next idea, that these were the results of stray missiles, doesn't seem to hold up either. However, some other theories have a little more plausibility. For example, what if the craters are former periglacial formations like pingos? A pingo is a dome-shaped hill formed in a permafrost area. The pressure of freezing groundwater forces a layer of frozen ground up, sometimes as high as 90 meters. Modern pingos usually occur in latitudes of 65 to 75 degrees north. When the soil over a pingo is disturbed, it can rupture, exposing the ice beneath to melting and potentially forming a crater or a lake as it collapses. Because of their structure and typical location, pingos are considered fairly good indicators of climate change. So, if this is the cause of the sinkhole, then it bears some troubling implications. Could it be possible that collapsing pingos and unexpected sinkholes are an unforeseen, dangerous result of a change in Earth's climate? However, this isn't the most troubling theory. The Yamal Peninsula is so isolated that the few locals call it the end of the world. There's not much up there, except, that is, for the natural gas industry. The Russian energy giant Gazprom has identified 11 gas fields, along with 15 oil, gas, and condensate fields in the area, and it has a long-term strategy to extract more than 16 trillion cubic meters of gas. Is it possible that extraction operations in the area caused these sinkholes to appear? The first one was discovered about 30 kilometers from one of the sites, and rocks scattered around the sinkholes have led investigators like Anna Kurchatova of the Subarctic Scientific Research Center to postulate that underground gas accumulated in ice mixed with sand and eventually ignited, causing an underground explosion. For the locals, these stories leave something lacking. Witnesses who believe the second Yamal crater was formed around September of 2013 claimed the ground began smoking before a huge flash of light appeared, and others, despite the experts' statements, are convinced that a meteorite caused the damage. So what could all of these sinkholes mean? A dangerous, unforeseen consequence of climate change? A series of explosions related to gas extraction? For some, both explanations fail, and today they still insist that when it comes to Yamal Peninsula, there's something Russia doesn't want you to know. Here are the facts. The world's intelligence agencies will murder to keep secrets. This small organ is the real-life third eye mentioned in ancient religious texts. Not only did he surpass the work of the Golden Dawn, but he discovered even more of the secret arts. Vietnamese health professionals noted a disturbing rise in birth defects by the late 60s. Prism can tap into servers for 9 US internet companies. Here's where it gets crazy.